Most enchanting of all is Cinderella's castle, the central landmark of Fantasyland, and in fact, the symbol of Walt Disney World. The main entryway is a work of art in itself. Its walls covered with glittering mosaics done in hand-cut Italian glass, fused with silver and 14-karat gold. Together, these murals tell the classic tale of the little Cinder Girl and her Prince Charming.
Oh, yeah.
Need my flower shirts for this one.
Here it goes.
I feel like I'm at Disney World right now.
Oh my god.
Just hanging out at the Yacht Club, baby. What up? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of the DNBA show. It's a Tuesday night, so I'm your host. My name is Brendan Vogt. I'm joined by an all-star panel of cast members. What if I just referred to you guys as cast members?
Oh, that's what they do at Disney. That's what they do at Disney.
Yeah, I know, Eric. It was a topical reference.
Let's
so,
do it.
On top of our references tonight on the ball, it's Eric Weedham, also known as D-Line Co.
That's
What's
right.
up,
That's my name. Did you know that? That's my name.
I did know that.
Okay.
Thanks, Eric. You're on a roll to start the show. To Eric's left, a man with not as much information and facts. It's Adam Marias. Adam, what's up?
No information, no facts for me today.
Just riding co-pilot,
Just
vibing
opinions.
out. Just opinions.
And takes.
And a man who is allergic to at least bad opinions. Not opinions, but bad opinions. Always practical, always measured. It's Harrison Wind.
We're presented by Manscaped,
Your
boys.
balls will thank you.
Your balls will
Balls,
thank you.
Thank you.
My balls are thanking me right now, but you did not need to know that. We got a big news dump today, a long list of ShamWows from our boy Shams Charania at The Athletic. So to help us sort through all of it, we're bringing on another special guest. Please welcome back to the show, covering the Denver Nuggets at Mile High Sports, it's superstar Dev.
Celebration. I like the celebration when I get along.
I do.
Yeah, dude, it's always hype when you're on here. We need you to help us bring the energy. So
I still feel like
That's right.
Dev is a little bit inappropriately dressed. It's a hot day. He's got a long
yeah, we do have to
shirt
talk
on.
about that.
What's going on, Dev?
What's your air conditioner situation?
Yeah.
'Cause
Do you
it's
guys
hot
not?
out.
Yeah. Do you guys not have AC or something?
Well,
Like-
I'll
We do have AC. Also, I have fans that go on and stuff like that. But I played a video game, so when we're in the video game, the big fan that we have, it's like an industrial fan. It goes through, so everybody that's on the video game is like, "Hey, we can't hear you. It's just
Same.
Are you playing on top of an airplane?" Like it's all type of jokes, and I didn't want to hear the jokes. So then I didn't have a shirt on, so I was like, "Hey, I'm on a show." I looked at the time and I said, "Let me put on the show because I don't think
Good
that's
call.
appropriate." Maybe.
I'm glad you're wearing a
I
shirt.
still,
That's
I still
definitely
wish
a
you
good
hadn't
call.
put on a shirt. If I'm being perfectly honest, nobody cares about my thoughts.
It's going to
on the
happen
show.
next time.
Yeah.
Clothing not optional. As it turns out, plenty of stuff that going to Orlando is optional, but
Hard
once you're
transition there. Sorry, that's a hard transition.
there's
I loved it.
yeah, it was rough. There's going to be a lot that the NBA players aren't going to love about their stay in Disney World, and we know that now because Shams Charania of The Athletic tweeted out a peek into life inside the bubble. The Athletic obtained the NBA Players Association memo that they sent out to all of their players. We got a lot of information, so we have to start at the top with the most important stuff.
So excited.
They were not kidding when they said they were going to try to sort teams in the hotels by their seating. They really actually did that.
That's so great. I'm so here for it.
So the Bucks, the Lakers, the Raptors, the Clippers, the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Jazz, and the Heat. Don't know how the Jazz snuck in there, but congrats to them.
Oh, man.
The
I
elite
didn't
squads
realize
will
they
be
were there.
staying at the Grand Destino.
the elite
Big
squads.
Thank you. That is an air horn moment.
Don't you kind of wish it was like the first day of Real World where everyone had to just run and choose their own bed?
Yes.
All the teams just had to mad scramble to the hotels.
No,
Yes.
Jokic would have for sure ended up in the Yacht Club if that was. He
He didn't care.
He would just been like, "Give me the first room, you guys."
probably stays up in the car. He's like, "I'll just whatever's available."
I love that the worst one is called the Yacht Club.
Yeah.
I know.
That's the
Matt Moore
worst one.
sent pictures of it out today. It's like, oh, that looks really nice. That looks great. But we all have jokes.
Anybody at a
to-
Motel 6? I mean,
I know. Also, Keith Smith, our homie and the #1 guy to go to for Disney World NBA related information, he's been pointing out on Twitter all night that like these aren't really tiers above one another. Like, there's no real upgrades here. These are all sweet digs.
It's all symbolic.
But in the Grand Floridian, we have the Thunder, 76ers, Rockets, Pacers, Mavs, Nets, Grizzlies, Magic. And in the lowly Yacht Club, the Blazers, the Kings, the Pelicans, the Spurs, the Suns, the Wizards. So, guys, I have a small market energy thing to get off my chest right now. I think it's super lit that the Nuggets are in like the elite building. Isn't it fun to see their?
Totally. Because what do we talk about at Summer League every year? How the Nuggets always get like the last game of the night at Cox Pavilion.
Yeah.
There's always nobody ever at the Nuggets Summer League games because everybody's at the main arena watching whatever the marquee game is there. The Nuggets are in though. They're in the Grand Destino. They're in. They're with the cool kids.
Grand Destino is so great too. It's also such a perfect name, the Grand Destino.
Yeah, the Grand Destination. Unbelievable.
It sounds like a sick movie, but
do you think they have? Do we know about their access to minibar? Are they allowed to give?
I'm glad you asked. We know a lot actually
about the
yes,
minibars?
Including macadamia nut privileges. Those are expensive.
Macadamia nut.
Hotel amenities will include players-only lounges with NBA 2K, TVs, gaming. At first, when I saw gaming, I thought it said gambling, and in my head, it was just the Michael Jordan meme.
Here are the assigned gambling areas. Just keep those very organized.
They're gonna have pools. Access to a pool. Here's where it gets interesting. Barbers, manicurists, pedicurists.
Hell yeah.
So definitely some non-essential staff inside the bubble for sure.
Maybe for you.
Yeah. 24-hour VIP concierge, daily entertainment, movie screenings, DJ sets, video games, ping pong, pool, lawn games. James Harden will be bored, but there's going to be stuff going on. And players will be allowed to attend other games, which to me is the coolest detail.
That is the best detail.
Do we think guys are going to do this, Dev?
No.
All right, cool. That'll
Let's
do.
end the show, guys.
No, not at all.
Why not?
I just don't see it happening. Also, I don't think that James Harden will be bored. They said there will be entertainment, and I'm sure that there will be entertainers. James Harden is good on this book, and they get to come from outside sourcing and things like that. It'll be great.
Wow.
So,
I like that we're dancing around this one here. Just
I think there will be a lot of family time. Like, everybody will have to bring their families and things of that nature. So, of course, there'll be those type of events and golfing and things of that nature.
When you can...
Well, I was going to say, you've got to go through like double the amount of protocol that you do if you're a player, if you're a family member trying to get into this thing.
You do?
But there...
It's
But there
quite
is
extensive, yeah.
Okay, so you are allowed to bring guests, though, right? Like, players... Is it... Did I read it correctly that each team has, like, was it 15 slots?
I think it's 17.
Yeah,
for some reason,
each
that number's in my
team.
head.
So each team that advances past the first round of the playoffs will be permitted up to 17 guest rooms for guests, family, friends.
Wait, that's per team?
Yeah, each team gets 17 guest rooms.
So wait, do you have to have like
wow.
a dedicated room for your side piece? And
All right,
your
hold on, I'm
family?
going to do some math.
Well, first of all, if there's 17, there's 17 players. Then there's coaches and everything else. So, like, if there's only 17, does that mean you have to, like, put family together? Like Jokic's family, Gary Harris's family? You guys are paired. You're in a room?
I don't know, but you get each team is permitted up to 17 guest rooms. And
Oh, my
then
goodness.
there's all types of self-quarantine that guests have to go through before they get there. All guests must undergo 3 days of self-quarantining and
Yacht
testing, either in a house or hotel in the team's home market or in Orlando before they get to the bubble. And then assuming there's not a positive test, then that player guest must come to the bubble and remain in quarantine for 4 days after arriving while having tests each of those days. So I don't know how much friends and family we're going to get at this thing.
All right, that's
know.
good, because that
Can
would
I
be...
be
I mean,
a
that would
friend?
be over 300 people if every team used all 17 spots. And so that's 300 like staff, players, personnel, and then you add your manicurists and your pedicurists. This bubble's growing quickly.
How do I get on this list, though? I want to be part of the guests.
I know, I would like to go. This
I
does
want to
sound
hang
pretty
out.
fun.
That sounds
actually.
awesome. I want to be in the lounge. I want to be playing video games, gambling with these guys. Come on. What do I
We
have to
could be
do?
family with like Wancho or somebody like that. He's not gonna have people come, so like we could be in his grouping.
You think we can be Vlatko's +1? Just like
Yeah.
he was by himself this whole
Yeah, he's got a
quarantine
plus
anyway.
zero.
That's
right
got to
now.
be on the table. You know what? I think that could be done.
Yeah, I think this is after the first round of the actual playoffs. Guests can come.
Yeah.
So
not
after
before
it gets
then.
whittled down to what would it be? 8 teams.
Yeah, it'll be down to 8. I have a theory. So going back to the living arrangements, assuming you don't consolidate, there might be an advantage to being one of the bad hotel teams because you figure there's going to be multiple teams that make it
This is
that are in the top
galaxy
one.
brain.
This is galaxy
Basketball
brain.
analysis.
If you're in the Yacht Club and you make it to the second round of the playoffs, aren't you the only team left in that hotel? You have the hotel all to yourself. That's a huge
Right.
advantage.
No, they may make teams move if they last longer than expected in the
Yeah,
tournament.
that's what I see.
Oh,
But
really?
Expected. If you're expected, so the top teams are expected to win. So if you don't, then you have to move up to the next one, which I don't know what that would mean.
Their,
But that's
their
crazy.
official ruling on that was, "We'll cross that bridge when we come to it," which I feel like is the official slogan of the restart of the
Totally.
NBA season.
Totally.
Also, that just tells me that like Tony Brothers is going to be on the elimination game for the Lakers are down 3-2. It's like, all right, Tony
Yeah.
Brothers, get in here. We need 6 early fouls on Jokic. You got to get out of here.
We lost our reservation at the Yacht Club. We can't have this.
We can't afford all of these changes. We need the Lakers in.
What I was thinking is like, how are rooms going to be assigned within teams? Because all these rooms aren't created equal, right? And like, I'm sure the hotels will get in custom beds that can fit NBA players better than typical Disney World guests. But I bet it's going to be like veterans get the first choice, and then all the way down to the rookies. Like based on these rooms, Paul Millsap might have this suite at the Grand Destino.
Paul
Vlatko
Millsap
might be
needs to-
staying in like a room with 2 double beds.
so
Millsap
great to be
needs to
talking about
pull
basketball.
a homie move for Michael Porter, man. He needs a good back support. Michael Porter
Mike's
as a
with me.
rookie does not get. He gets the last pick, but he needs a great bed.
Only 2 of us have the backs of 10+ year veterans here, and we need the bed. Let's walk this thing all the way out and talk about the general timeline here, which we also got from the man Shams. So international players who are abroad, international players, they need to be back by the 15th. That was yesterday. On June 23rd, that's the beginning of testing. We'll come back and we'll revisit all these sections and hit the details, but here's our timeline. So testing starts on the 23rd. The start on July 1st, there's a sort of hybrid mini camp, which we'll elaborate on. July 7th through 9th, a staggered arrival at Disney World. They do not want all these teams showing up at the same time.
Oh my
So
god!
they'll stagger that. And July 9th, they will start practices at Disney World. So Jokic, I assume, has to be back then. So we can cross that off the list,
Okay.
right? Hang on one second. I lost my someone.
My first
list.
thought reading this entire report and reading all these details is like, should we just not be doing this? Like,
Really?
should we just pack it up and go home? I mean, I applaud the NBA because like this is extensive and detailed, and it seems like they at least have a good plan going into this. But this is a lot, man. This is a lot.
think we should
This is a big
revisit that.
endeavor.
After we hit all of these details, because that question will maybe.
I'm curious
be a
actually
little
what Dev
weightier,
thinks.
but-
Dev, you played a lot of AAU. Doesn't this sound like AAU? Like you're going to a hotel. There's these ridiculous logistics. You have all these like weird things. I mean, this has an AAU feel to me.
Everything about it is AAU. It's like summer league on steroids. Like it's amazing. Especially like you have like all these rich guys in the same place, and they're still going to be like catered to, and their families get to come out. It's the best part of AAU. It sounds bad to like,
100%.
other people on the outside. I think that the players are like, this is amazing.
Sounds amazing to me. I want it.
I know, and
Well-
our boy Keith told us the food is like incredible. Like they're gonna be like, it's not macaroni and cheese and chicken tenders. It's gonna
Mickey
be
Mouse
like
shaped pancakes and things.
there's gonna be some players that are gonna ask for macaroni and cheese and chicken tenders. So I have a feeling, but you don't have to eat that. You can have the steak and
You
lobster.
could just
I'm
say
sure.
Jokic by name.
Should we get into the food details that were in this?
Do we have
on
food
that
details?
note?
Oh my god.
Oh, we have.
I'm
food
so
details.
hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm starving. This is gonna be tough. I'm gonna have a hard time here.
So there was some stuff in there where Chris Haynes had a report where he said each team will have access to a designated Disney culinary team.
Oh, that's
who will
right.
help
Yeah.
create
A team.
individualized team menus, support team dietary needs, and ensure health and safety guidelines are followed. Players will receive 3 meals per day on off days, 4 meals per day on game days. What do you guys think
Yeah.
about that?
I'm gonna start
That's a lot of
Way
food.
better than AAU. Way better. When I think about it, this is nothing like AAU.
I'm gonna weave this into my own regimen. Every game day, I'm gonna start eating 4 meals. I never really thought about that before.
That's true. No, honestly, though, professional athletes eat a lot. They need to eat a lot. So I was actually 4 meals a day. I don't know. You don't think like some people need Mason Plumlee? I think he eats
No,
like
the big
12
guys.
meals a day.
No,
They do.
I was gonna say guys will need more than 3 or 4 meals per day. I thought it was low.
Yeah, I
This
think
is
so
just
too.
don't you think we're just gonna get a ton of photos of players hanging out together and fraternizing, and all the old heads older than me are gonna be like, I can't believe this. And back in my day, the players never talked to each other.
Kobe wouldn't even have gone. He would have built his
Like,
own
Michael
hotel
Jordan would
room.
have seen George Karl in the Grand Destino, and he would have moved to the Yacht Club. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Here's a couple other food details, though. There will be room service options, of course, and subject to a few exceptions, food deliveries from outside of the NBA campus are not permitted, so no Uber Eats. But
Of course.
a player is permitted to hire a personal chef located outside of the NBA campus to prepare and send food into the NBA campus on a daily basis. And I also said, like, if a team, I also heard or saw if a team wants to have a personal
Nice.
chef, they can be included in like the 35-person traveling party that teams can take to Disney World.
feels like food has been the number one planning point of this entire
Yeah, so you
thing.
get to add more stuff. Like I mean, I could make grilled cheese sandwiches if people want that.
People want
We have to get in and somehow because like that just sounds amazing. Like you get
You
to
said-
order a chef and then they already feed you, and next they're gonna have like you can have anybody in there. So
They're like every room.
You
will
check
be
Jamal's
equipped with-
Instagram, you see Dev in the back with a chef's hat. Is that Dev? Is that
Every room will be
grilled
equipped
cheese?
with a loaf of white bread, American cheese, and an iron. You can make grilled cheese at any
That's how
point
you
in time.
do it. Huh?
That's good. That's like a Fire Fest setup.
Low-key, eating food at resorts is like maybe a top 2 thing of the resort. Maybe number 1. When you can
Depends
eat,
on the resort.
the food's like all open all day long, and that's the best feeling on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through the details of these bullet points. So June 23rd, the beginning of testing. Teams will begin mandatory testing of all players and staff, of course. The testing will consist of the shallow nasal swab and the oral swab. The long swab that has been talked about as being particularly uncomfortable will not be used. So I do wonder if that's going to affect... Like, I actually think that was kind of a big ask to ask people for the
course.
daily long swab test, but it does sound like that they have a sort of work around that. So I don't know if that was a big point
Of course
that
it
players are
was.
objecting to.
You're
But
even burying the lead. I believe that there's also a secondary test that players can
blood-
opt into. Yeah, the blood test or
The
whatever.
blood
that they
draw,
can,
yep.
They can opt into, and it's like experimental. So they can almost do a service by helping us learn new testing methods if they so choose.
Are you reading this
yeah,
tweet
but
here?
also with the nasal swab, aren't they using it as like a punishment? Like if you go out of the bubble and it's not in it, then you have to use the nasal swab.
The deep one? Oh, that would be a great idea. I actually like that. Like, yeah,
That
look,
would keep players in the bubble for
I think
sure.
I read that honestly.
really wow.
Yeah, I think that's in here somewhere.
so the blood draw being it's experimental, you said, Adam?
There's like, well, I'm gonna screw this up. I thought you could probably find it on the notes there, but from Shams. But there was something about there's like an experimental blood drawing thing that they can opt into. They could so choose.
Well, yeah, they do have the serology and antibody test. I guess I just didn't realize about the experimental nature of it.
Did you read the
But-
tweet that Guy just had up about them
No,
being
I
able
didn't.
to wear a ring for early detection? Like a
Really?
mood. It's like a mood ring, I assume.
oh wow,
It's actually a ring pop.
yeah.
wow,
That's
that's
actually
wild.
insane. It really is
Inside
just a
the
mood
Orlando
ring
bubble.
for coronavirus.
Yeah, NBA players will have the option of wearing a ring that could help with early detection of coronavirus, track temperature, respiratory.
That's
heart
crazy.
rate
That's
in
wild.
5 different flavors.
Man, this
That
is
is
where,
nuts.
to me, I know it's like sensitive because we don't want to send these athletes into a situation that, like, we're putting them in like danger and all this stuff. But it's also like, wait, we have that technology. Like,
Yeah,
can the
maybe.
rest of
That's
the
what,
world
that's
get
what we don't
this
know.
stuff?
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's why
I mean-
it's experimental. But honestly, Dev, I want your opinion. I know all these guys' opinion about this.
Yeah,
What
you
is
said
your like? If you were a player, would you have a problem going into this bubble and playing games? I
And
know
would
that's
you crush a
impossible to know for certain, but just what do you think?
I think honestly it depends what type of player I am. If I'm a superstar, I don't want to go into the bubble. But
Wow.
if I'm just a regular player, then I think I would love to be in the bubble. Just because
Why?
I'm going to get paid. You get paid.
Oh,
I see what you're
I
saying.
think that's a huge portion of being in the bubble is the people that are like standing up and saying so much. They're set. But then you hear players like like Ed Davis and things of that nature, and you got to look at it from the other side. They need to be paid. They also love to play. Think about the players that are not playing. They have to be off for so long. Like, when's the next time they're going to play real basketball? Like, at this speed and things of that nature. Like, that has to take away from things. So I would love to be in the bubble if I was a player. But I think if I was a superstar, I would not want to be in it.
superstar Dev doesn't want in. Regular Dev will be in there playing hard.
That's interesting to me because I look at it the other way. Like, if I'm a top player with a chance at winning a title with things like legacy or MVP awards and all that kind of stuff in the mix, that I'm going. Whereas if I'm an Ed Davis, like, I'm not chasing MJ's ghost. I'm good,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just using his name as an example, of course.
Yeah.
I have one point I'd like to bring up, and that's Mr. Billy says that I look like George Costanza in the comments. And I think that I've been called Larry Walker. George Costanza never, though.
I don't see it. Larry
Yeah, I
Walker,
don't see it either. I don't see it either. Time for a read, guys? Is that what
It's
that
time
music
for a
means?
read, Harrison.
All right. We got the Mile High City Copper Lager and the Breckenridge Brewery
Oh, did you hear that?
15-can sampler
Do you
to
guys
start
hear
off.
that drop? Oh yeah.
I heard it. The opening of a beer can is one of the best sounds.
One of
in
the
world.
best.
One of the best.
Ah, thirsty.
So check out the Mile High City Copper Lager.
What are
of
people
course, from
calling
Breck
the
Brew.
15 pack? Is there a nickname people are using on the
I
streets?
think I heard it's called the Jokic Pack.
Ooh, the Jokic pack.
The Jokic
First time I'm hearing this.
Yeah. You
Stop
get
trying
at
to make fetch
Davidson's.
happen.
It's a thing.
It's not
You
gonna
get it
happen.
at Breck Brew.
Many people are calling it that.
I've heard many people calling it.
A great many people.
Also, guys, golf is here. That's right. We've got another full weekend of golf ahead of us. And even though the trophy is reserved for the winner, the big cash winnings don't have to be. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting you in the center of the action with a sign-up bonus up to $1,000.
I love when he does the straight read. Keep going.
Well, if I don't do the straight read, we get yelled at.
Okay, let's
Because
hear it.
you guys didn't do the straight read
not
on
true, it was
Thursday
you.
and Friday.
That was
You did it.
It was you.
It was not me. I was not on the show, and you guys did not
This
do
is
the
no
straight
time for your
read.
bickering. We take
This
this
is
off
time
now.
for bickering. Let's fight.
But anyways, guys, you can download the top-rated DraftKings sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus for up to $1,000. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is going all out with a sign-up bonus of the $1,000. Just enter the code DNVR. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook when you sign up. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonuses comprise of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I have a bone to pick, though. Or actually, not really a bone to pick, but something I want to circle back to. Dev said that he doesn't think people will go and watch games. Well, I strongly disagree. If players are allowed in the stadium, I think that, of course, you're going to go watch in person. Why wouldn't you?
Who said that?
You did.
I did not say that.
I thought you said that. Didn't he say this earlier?
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
definitely
Explicitly.
said-
It was a, do you think that they're going to do
Oh
this?
yeah, I was
and you
not
said,
paying attention.
no.
I was not paying attention.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell because I did not expect that answer
I was
from
like,
you.
I was surprised. I was like, man, all right,
Yeah,
I guess I
I'm
believe
glad we got to the bottom of it.
No, players will go. Of course. I think lots of players will go, and I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be like a highlight. What else is there to do? You don't want to go and watch movies the whole time.
Right.
I mean,
Well, that's not
I
true.
will say at the Grand Destino, there's 4 pool options. There's various amenities.
Destino.
There's some boating options throughout the resorts. There's golf courses.
Some boating options.
But
Gonna
I
be very
mean,
popular.
let's be honest. These guys are going to be at the arenas, I think.
Is there paddle boats?
I need a paddle
I
boat latte
hope
bowl
not.
picture.
I hope
I
not.
need that so bad.
At least get a motor
man.
on that thing.
Man, I'm telling you, I think for sure, I think this will be a storyline, actually. And I wonder if the NBA is going to stick them out of sight. I think it would be so smart if they did not. If you go to the game, you get to sit right there in the camera lines. You get to hear everything. That I hope the NBA does. I know they won't, but I would
Sideline
hope they would do that.
interviews. Yeah, man. Someone has like a nasty dunk. I want to cut to like the best players in the league reacting to
I
that.
know, and I want to hear like specific trash talk coming from the.
Well, you'll
fans
never
I
get
can
that.
pick
Yeah,
out.
but ESPN has been desperate, so you got to know they will be doing those interviews on the side. It's going to be like Summer League in that aspect. They're going to walk over to the side. They're going to have people mic'd up. You probably have to go watch one game that day or something like that.
Yeah.
We need to
I
get Kevin.
get that.
Oh.
We talked about these possibilities on the Keith Smith pod, and I think we also talked about the possibility of MLS players possibly coming and watching, and they announced today that they're open for that. They're down for that. So they're still waiting to hear from the NBA in terms
They
of
better be down for that.
vice versa. But the MLS is down. I'm sure they would be. I don't think we'll get LeBron at a soccer game, but
Maybe you would.
maybe it'd be cool.
Why
It'd be
wouldn't you?
fun.
Yeah.
Kevin
Jokic
Durant
would go?
just bought a piece of the Philadelphia Union, right?
Oh, I saw that.
Saw that.
Yeah, that's cool.
LeBron owns like soccer teams, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a
Arsenal?
stake somewhere.
Is it
No, he has a minority stake in.
Oh, here we go. Soccer guy coming in.
Liverpool. There he is.
There he is.
Glad you're wearing shoes tonight.
He's not wearing shoes, he's wearing footy socks.
Of course, guy would know the details on the soccer.
Guys like retired, successful drug dealer vibes are pretty intense.
You're retired.
Full setup and then just leave. There's an Liverpool. Leave.
Yeah, get back on
Yeah.
here, guy. Guy's
Yeah,
not
Guy-
even his real name. That's
Guy
just look
definitely
at this
seems like
man.
Oh no, I've been found out, man.
Doesn't guy seem
My
like he has
alter
a,
ego.
like he has a pet snake or something?
Yeah. He was a DNVR intern for
I
cover.
check all the boxes. Yeah.
Guy is just the name of the drifter whose identity he stole when he moved to Colorado.
All right, we have a lot to cover, gentlemen.
Get the
so
hell
we
out
do
of
have to
here,
keep it
guy.
moving.
All right.
July 1st, we've got this mini camp thing deal, kind of, but
Yeah, so weird.
individual
This is the weird part.
workouts. Individual workouts are mandatory, and group workouts are still prohibited for medical reasons. No more than 8 players will be permitted in the team's facility at any point in time. So, not really a training camp, is it, Harrison?
No, it's pretty much what's happening now, except
Yeah.
you can have 8 guys in the gym instead of just 1 or 2 at a time.
Sick. Should be some top shape basketball going
Honestly,
on.
like, are they going to be going
Two-man
over? Because
game.
they need to go over. This camp, once they get to Orlando, is not that long. Are they going to be going over terminology 17 times? Because they have to go over, like, all right, here's how we're going to guard pick and roll, Jokic. All right, you're out of here. Here's how we're going to guard pick and roll, Mason Plumlee. Like, they have to do it every
All right, yeah.
single time.
Send them outside of the building.
So
Hot
I mean,
day.
you get down to Disneyland July 7th through July 9th. Practices pretty much start right away, and then scrimmages start the 22nd, games start the 30th. So you've got pretty much 3 weeks, barely, to like get your practices, get your terminology ironed out once you're already down there. I don't know how much of that stuff you can do beforehand if not everybody's allowed in the facility at the same time.
How much new terminology is involved here? Like, is it?
Well, it's like coming back after a summer, except even worse. Because at least during the
Longer,
off season, guys are around each other and like playing pickup together. But this has been a longer hiatus than a normal off season is. So yeah, guys forget the plays, guys forget the play calls, but you learn that stuff back during mini camp and training camp typically.
How nice and convenient for MPJ. I mean, like, well, I forgot again. I mean,
It's funny though. I mean, I do think, we think of NBA as like just stars running around doing their things, but yeah, I mean, this is at times, especially postseason play, it needs to be a well-oiled machine, and when you have that much time off, longer than an off season, you need a ramp-in period.
Did
Does
you
this
guys
seem
see
long
this?
to-
Did you guys see this tweet that just came through? Sorry.
Go for
you're
it.
good.
Breaking
Shams
news.
and Sam Amick. The NBA will create an anonymous hotline to report potential violations of protocols in Orlando.
Oh, baby.
Chris Paul every time.
It's gonna be all over. It's on speed dial.
1-800-CP3.
LeBron's shirt wasn't tucked in. What?
Players will
It's
have
the COVID
the option to
hotline.
wear a proximity alarm.
Yeah, so
Notify if players for more than 5.
we're about to talk
6
about that.
feet.
We're about to talk about that too. More fun details. So Harrison just mentioned that July 7th to July 9th period. This is the staggered arrival at Disney World. Teams arriving in a staggered manner via charter flight or bus. NBA teams have been informed of required positions for the 35-person traveling party. This is usually a 50-person traveling party for these teams, down to 35 now. They must bring an athletic trainer, strength and conditioning coach, equipment manager, and team security official. Each team can include a player's private personal trainer, massage therapist, or security, but that prior list, that's mandatory. Upon arrival, players and team staff must stay isolated in their rooms until they return 2 negative PCR tests at least 24 hours apart. Players will have the option to wear a proximity alarm that will notify a player if he spends more than 5 seconds within 6 feet of another person on campus who is also wearing that alarm. Here's where it gets funky, though. Team staff has to wear this.
It's
For
not
the
currently
players,
funky.
it's optional. So, again, like, to me, it just all seems like there's, like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of this sort of bubble deal. I don't know if that's fair or unfair, but...
Just say.
Adam...
Go ahead.
The 24 hours apart initial thing, I mean, that's a big ask for players. Or do you think that this is going to give any of them pause, especially some of this group that already is maybe hesitant?
Well, that was your answer. That's already given a lot of people pause before these details came out. I think a lot of this is going to bother a lot of people. And one of the questions we can talk about in our, a little bit later on is just if we expect a bunch of players not to. Of course, there's the idea that there'll be replacement players. There might be players that opt out of this, so then you'd be able to bring in some extra ones. But some of this stuff, here's my perspective on all of this, truthfully. And that's why I was so interested to hear Dev, because I know he's a competitor. I know he likes to play basketball. I know he likes to win. So I was very surprised to hear him say that if he was LeBron, he wouldn't want to be in this one. Because to me, and it's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of guys that have made all this money and done all these things already. But for me, I'm always like, yeah, 24 hours alone sucks. Being away from family, that would be really tough. All these things are incredibly tough, but at the end of the day, I always want to beat everybody. Like at basketball. And it's like this is a thing where I can beat everybody at it, and it's going to mean at the end you get a championship. So to me, I just feel like I would be willing to go through all of these. So yeah, that sucks, but a lot of this sucks. To me, mentally, I would already be there. But again, I know I don't speak for everybody, and I also don't know if that's how I'd actually feel in that position.
Yeah, I mean, we got plenty of Slack messages after these WGT tournaments to prove Adam's point on that one.
Yeah, he wants to win and everything. Adam, would you quarantine for 24 hours in between WGT tournaments?
I would if I had to.
Right,
I had a terrible showing this last weekend. I can't even talk trash right now.
I mean, but Dev, do you think not every basketball player feels that way? I mean, and so I'm curious, by your estimation at least, there's going to be guys out there that's just not worth it for them, right? I mean, they just don't need this.
Yeah, that's what my idea is. A lot of them, first off, if you do win, I think that there's going to be an asterisk. So everyone's going to be like, I'm not sure. Second off, I just think that there's so many health scares for everybody that it's just like maybe I shouldn't do it just because if they do bring it back home or if people do get sick or and things of that nature, I think that it's just too many rules that they have to like abide by. Instead of like, you guys figure it out and then we'll start back fresh and things of that nature.
I wonder how much communication guys like, is it Christian Wood, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert? I wonder if those guys have like addressed the players and just said, hey, here was my experience. This is what it's like. Because I'm sure, first of all, I'm sure a lot more players have tested positive than what has been revealed. I'm sure later we're going to talk about Michael Malone. But so I'm sure everybody has talked to some player who has got it and has a sense for it. And guys like Christian Wood, for example, said like it was nothing. It wasn't even like a cold. It was almost not noticeable. So I don't know. As time goes on and as we learn more about this, it does seem like these guys probably have a little less to worry about than most people.
I was listening to a player on a podcast. I forget who it was, but he was referencing like a bunch of players that had it, and I think most, if not all of them, were asymptomatic. You know, they didn't even know they had it. The only reason they knew they had it was because they were tested.
Right.
And I'm speculating a lot here, but I've got to think that calms the nerves of players who are in peak physical condition, and they've got to have a pretty good idea, you know, that the odds are if they were to get it, which is probably way less likely in the Orlando bubble than it would be if they were just to stay at home and go about their daily lives. That if they were to get it, they might not even know. It might not even affect them that much.
The comment just referenced it. We know now that Michael Malone, of course, had it. Harrison, you talked about that. You wrote a piece about that for the DNVR.com. But so much of the conversation has been around the players, and it's what's funny. There are people that are in the at-risk age groups that are going to comprise these essential parties, these traveling parties, coaches, of course, and I just wonder, like, I don't know. I know they've showed sort of solidarity on this front, but I do find myself wondering about the Pops, the D'Antoni, if they're nervous. I don't know if that's the right word, if they're hesitant at all. But it doesn't seem like these guys are going to start a group chat where they talk about, you know, other plans or not go. These guys are going to go. You know, it doesn't seem like it's up to them almost.
And isn't it ultimately up to? I mean, that's part of this whole thing. Is you can't really force Mike D'Antoni not to go if he says, like, no, it's worth the risk to me. The risk is so small, and the precautions I buy into, or whatever. But they have all said that. To your point, they've all said they want to play, or they want to be there, they want to coach, they want to be a part of it. But I am curious just to what the general estimate for how many players will opt out. I mean,
I think very few, if any, will opt out.
Ultimately, I mean, right now, you know, the last week it seems like there's been a little bit more momentum, not necessarily for the COVID stuff, but for the you know, social justice portion of this whole thing. But just for COVID, I do wonder if it would be a lot, or if it would be like 5, 6, 7 players, mostly from the Phoenix Suns, you know, something like that.
I think a lot of guys will raise concerns, as they should.
Actually, that's my answer, Dev. If I would opt out, if I was on the Suns, I'd probably be like, yeah, I don't want to do this one.
Like, absolutely not. It's not worth it.
Yeah, that one is not worth it.
Or it's an experience like, yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah,
If Devin Booker opted out, nobody will ever let him live that down.
No.
Ooh,
He opted out of the
well,
he opted out of the Olympics. Like what? Like,
No, I don't know, man. I'm
Who cares
surprised.
about the Olympics?
I would be surprised
who cares
if
about this? Like,
I'd be surprised. Some of these bottom teams, I'm sure there are players that are not thinking, now's our chance. It's this weird year. We're going to steal a title. You'd have to imagine that there are some of these guys that don't want anything to do with this. The league did lay out guidelines for players who don't want to participate if anyone does go that route. Every player does have the right. Those players will not be disciplined. What will happen is they'll have their compensation reduced by one. Harrison, help me read this. Help me break this down. 192.6.
Yeah, I think that's
for each game missed up to a cap of 14 games. Any player that wishes to exercise his right should notify his team of this election by June 24th. Non-participating players who are either excused or protected will not have their salary reduced as a result of their non-participation. Protected players are those players whose team believes they are at a higher risk for severe illness. Excused players are those players who a panel of 3 medical experts determines to have a higher risk for severe illness. So those latter groups, protected or excused, there would be no salary reduction whatsoever.
That sounds like a long-winded way to say that they would be sacrificing a game check for every game that they miss, essentially.
It does seem like a long way of saying that, yeah.
with a cap of 14 games on it.
Yeah.
What has confused me about the whole thing is why haven't the league used Christian Wood or Rudy Gobert as like the face of it to say like, hey, I'm fine now. I'm able to play basketball. This is what I've been doing this whole time. Or to say like, I'm not all the way there.
Right.
This is the scary parts of it. So this is the health factors that go with it. With them just kind of pushing it under the rug, I think that's a little bit alarming.
Yeah, I think there could be more transparency. I think the league is probably saying to themselves, like, we don't want to, like, float this out there that if an NBA player gets it, he's going to be automatically fine. Because, like, we are in a worldwide pandemic, and people who are in perfect physical condition that are 20 to 30 years old have gotten this and have died. So I don't think they want to put a blanket statement over that. But no, I think, like, having those guys speak about what their experiences were like yeah, that could definitely ease a lot of players' anxiety.
Yeah.
A couple more notes from that staggered arrival period. Beginning July 7th, random anti-drug testing will resume. This is only for performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, masking agent, diuretics. No testing will be done for recreational substances, although players will still be held accountable if they partake. Obviously,
What do you mean?
You have to call that CP3 hotline. Call the hotline.
I think I smelled some marijuana coming from the floor below me.
Held accountable. I mean, they're still subject to discipline the same way they would have been. They're not testing for it, but it's still against the rules. So they're
I don't
still
even know what
subject
that means.
to that discipline. Recreational use of marijuana, of course, is not legal in Florida. Reminder for those of us who forget.
Yeah, we do
because we
forget.
live in
I
one
do
of the cool
forget that.
places.
It is crazy. How
I
many
know,
states
but-
have legalized marijuana now? It's got to be it's like 20, no?
All the cool ones.
Yeah, the cool states.
I'm gonna fact check that while you guys talk.
Oops, that was way louder than I
speaking of
anticipated. Harrison, take us away. I have a question when we come back to. I have another question.
All right. MSU Denver Online puts a dynamic education at your fingertips. And
Dr.
what's
Travis
great
Heath.
about MSU Denver Online is their teachers. That's really the best part about MSU Denver
It's the
Online.
best sales pitch we could get. That smart guy from last night, he could be your teacher. So.
Yeah.
Lindsay texted me too, and she's like, "You guys tell me you did an MSU read when you had Dr. Travis on." I was like, "No,
No.
sure didn't."
Sure didn't.
Well, we actually did one. I did the pre-roll read was MSU Denver Online.
all right, well,
so I talked about him in that. But yeah, the great thing about MSU Denver Online is it's awesome for first-time freshmen if you're just starting out college. They have so many different majors, so many different programs. Or if you're an existing student looking to go back and finish up your degree, maybe you're looking to get a graduate degree, a master's degree, MSU Denver Online can help with all those. And they have the best teachers too. Incredible teachers for an online university. So check out their entire course list online, and hey, maybe you could take one of Dr. Heath's classes too.
I heard a rumor, Wind. I heard a rumor that you are taking a course and the assignment was too tough. You had to opt out of this and say, you know what? I don't
This
know
is so
how
good.
it is.
All right. Well, if you want me to write a 20-page paper in the heat of the NBA playoffs, I will.
It's MJ.
You know what? I kind of do, man. I kind of
Absolutely.
do.
Where do you want my priorities to be?
All right, here's my question I wanted to ask. And I guess I'll start with Dev. He's our guest. They're going to start testing players on Monday as everybody comes back in. What do you think those results are going to be like, and what is the threshold for which, if it was past this percentage of people testing positive, the NBA would say, well, I don't know.
Man, that's I think about that a lot. I don't know if I have the
I think
answer.
the
but I
league will
think
be
about it
really
every
smart about it. I think that they'll put it at a number that really it should not get to.
98%.
Yeah, they'll probably say something like 40% of the league or something. Like,
Okay.
there's no way that you could get 40%, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or just something really high. But I'll say, like, if I had to guess, I'll say about 3 per team or 2 per team.
Yeah. See, I was thinking that too. I don't think that's that crazy of a number. Now, that's across everybody. That's not just players. That could end up being a coach or, anybody that'll potentially go into the bubble, because you got 2 weeks before you got to be in Orlando. So you're going to test, you can quarantine, and then you can be ready to go inside the bubble. But it's still, I have a feeling that number's going to be kind of high.
I think it's going to be high, and I think it's kind of going to be an eye-opening moment for like the league and a lot of people, because like way back when there were all the reports of the players who got it, but there
Right.
haven't really been many since. There really hasn't.
But that's because of the reports, and here's why I don't think this will actually break. I think there'll be little leaks here and there, like somebody will announce, like, yes, I tested positive, this or that. But I'll bet you most of the tests that come back positive, the team just won't say anything. We're not going to be there to check and verify. The team doesn't necessarily have to. I don't think the team, maybe even legally, is allowed to say, like, oh yeah, we got 6 people. So I don't know that we'll find out one way or another. But behind the scenes, I'm sure it will affect sort of how the
There's
league
gotta
views
be
and proceeds, but also it'll affect teams. I mean, if a team has 6 players that are out for 2 weeks heading to Orlando, that's a huge disadvantage.
I mean, do you need like a third-party committee? Like, honestly, I mean, like the U.S. Doping Administration or something. Like, if LeBron if he's if he's asymptomatic, do you trust that gets out there and LeBron doesn't play? Would you be surprised if there's a buried LeBron positive test result? I know that's like high-key speculative, but I can say that I would not be. I've honestly wondered if teams are going to inquire about like how that's checked on and enforced, because you're right, Adam, there might be an ethical obligation not to tell the public who has this, but from a competitive standpoint, that transparency is important.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know.
I really think it'll just be that the league's not. I mean, if it got so big, if they get back and it is 40% people test positive, the league just might fold and they'll be like, okay, that's why. But I just we saw was Ezekiel Elliott that tested positive and it came out and he's like, well, who said? Because that was my information. I told everybody that knew not to tell. So,
by the way, it was his agent that told him.
He said no. He said his agent only confirmed.
Oh, gotcha.
So do you think somebody just called his agent and was like, hey, man, I heard Ezekiel Elliott might have tested positive? That's right. That is what happened.
Like,
they were going to run a story, and they called just to be like, we're just fact-checking here.
I mean, going back to Adam's original question, there has to be an actual mathematical number to this, right? There's only so many eligible replacement players. Is there a world in which the number of positive test results in any way approaches that number? So yeah, I mean, there's a possibility where
they do have a little bit of time because they're starting to test players on Monday, and then teams don't fly down there until the 7th or the 9th. So that's enough of a window where if you come into the building and you test positive on Monday, you can get rid of it by the time you have to fly down to Orlando and get a couple negative tests.
God,
you want to know what? So we're talking. There's obviously a lot of like things that make us all nervous and maybe hesitant or this or that. But there is one thing. It's possible we get both PJ Dozier and Bol to play actual minutes at some point in this tournament. If we just go with the best case scenario, nobody gets tested positive, everything goes off without a hitch, whatever. Nuggets might be in position where the last game doesn't matter. You've only got 17 players down there. You might do starters. You're resting. Millsap, you're resting. Everybody. Who are we going to fill out our roster with? Bol. You're in. You get your first minutes in the NBA tonight. That's at least crossed my mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Let's go.
Okay, so definitely put an asterisk on this season.
There's so many, like the amount of time that we've gone over just this portion of the planning and the logistics. Like, as soon as I see a basketball game being played, the first basket I see made, I'm just going to cry tears of joy for like an hour. I just can't imagine us getting to the place where we're actually like playing goddamn basketball.
Hold your breath, man.
Yeah, hold your breath.
I think it's if not when right now, but maybe I'm naive. All right, we got more to get through. July 9th, start of practices at Disney World. At all times on the court, players must avoid spitting or clearing their nose, wiping the ball with their jersey, licking their hands, and unnecessarily touching their mouth guard. I'd like to bring us back to Harrison's original point. Oh my God, what are we doing here? Like, how do you? Yeah, this all seems so unreasonable.
Yeah, these are the types of rules that they have to lay out there, and like I've seen tweets about, no doubles in ping pong. I think
that's so specific.
I think our friend of the show, Mike Singer, just had something about how you have to change out the deck of cards or something.
Yeah,
after every game.
Games of grab ass must be played with a glove.
Like that stuff.
I think it said everyone has to have their own headphones for video games.
Oh my God!
Like that's the stuff that they have to put in there, but you can't tell me that stuff's going to be followed like as rigidly as the NBA hopes it will.
You know what, Dill? I'm so ready to.
Me too. I need this.
Like I'm really ready for it. I know. Look, do we have more on the list of timeline stuff there, Vote?
Yeah, I just want to clear this out real quick, Sure. Until July 21st, players are requested to have only brief interactions with players residing in other hotels that are encountered in common areas.
If LeBron recruits Jokic to the Lakers at the Grand Destino, I'm going to go crazy.
The Grand Destino. I can't get over that name.
Hey, you want to go get some food? No. All right, cool. All right, see you later, man. Until July 21st. Yeah, so any meal eaten with a player on another team must be eaten outside. Players are not permitted to enter each other's hotel rooms. Disney chefs will prepare daily meals. We talked about the food stuff already. July 22nd, scrimmages start. Teams will play 3 scrimmage games against other NBA teams residing in that same hotel.
That's a big point.
Squads.
That's a big point because these top 8 teams are staying with the Nuggets at that hotel. But if the NBA goes by the schedule we think they're going to go by for those 8 seeding games, the Nuggets could play the Lakers in an exhibition and then play them in the second seeding game. Same with the Raptors.
It's wild.
From July 22nd until the end of the 2019-2020 season, players are permitted to socialize with players and team staff from other hotels other than the one in which they are residing. Players are still not permitted to enter each other's hotel rooms due
That's
to
so
infection
crazy too.
concerns.
That's also crazy. Wow.
For each player to leave the NBA campus, he must have returned a negative test result within 24 hours of his scheduled departure. Each team that advances past the first round of the playoffs will be permitted to reserve up to 17 guest rooms. We touched on this already.
I love this
And
question
that
and
brings
the way
us-
it's phrased. Is it taboo to talk about escorts and girlfriends, or grown-ups talk
Guest
about
rooms?
abstinence? I mean, we could talk about it. Yeah, that's gonna be.
We've
tough
kept
to
it
get.
real on this podcast for 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah,
We might as
keeping
well.
it real.
Yeah.
Escorts are going to have to add in the quarantine fee
Yeah. 4 days.
before they get to the bubble.
All right, never mind. Maybe we shouldn't keep it real.
Dev, I really want to know your take on this, though, man. Like, what's your level of interest in this, and then also just, do you feel like it should go on?
Yeah, I think it should go on. You started the season, you need to finish it.
Yes.
That's a long time to not play basketball, and this is like their livelihoods. This is the way that they make money or stay afloat. And then for a lot of people, it's a lot of way that we cope with things. And I think that, it should go on, because that'll just be a rough way to end it. And then it just has so many ramifications on next season and seasons after that. So I think that just stopping it abruptly would have changed a lot of things.
Yeah, and financially into next year and all the different things. Although it should be noted, Adam Silver said that the financial implication of finishing this season and starting and just canceling it and going to next season isn't as great as people think. It's minor, almost a minor consideration. So I don't know.
Well, also, especially if you could
Really?
get next season started closer to on time, right? And it just makes the whole thing easier going forward. So maybe.
My
maybe
guy
let's
Ray
go with it.
chose the wrong time to become single. You don't have to go into the bubble, Ray. You don't have to. You're not like the NBA players.
We should also probably talk, guys, about the Stephon Bondi tweet that came out today. I don't have it on me. I probably should have let the producer know ahead of time. So Kyrie Irving is in a group chat with the Nets players where he recently both suggested that they not go to this bubble thing, but also that they consider starting their own league. I haven't looked into more details. I don't know what the fine details on another league
We
means,
might learn more about this, for sure, going forward. But
Well, check out the screen, because I think we just learned more about it.
sources tell me that Kyrie Irving never stated that the Nets should begin their own league. I'm told that after the report came out, he left the group chat. All right, well,
I can't, man. I can't.
and that was
Well,
keeping
I'm
up
gonna
with
sit this one
Kyrie.
out. I'm gonna sit this one out.
Also, I think Theo Pinson came out and said that it wasn't true also. I mean, I'm assuming he's in the group chat. I mean, he's a player. So he,
Is Jared Allen in the group chat? I don't
Has
know.
even said that that's
Not
not
anymore.
true.
Maybe he
Yeah,
just suggested
okay.
they should have their own group chat.
So it's tough because I want to take players on their word for that, but also players lie about this stuff all the time. I mean, it's very commonplace for a player to say that report's not true, and then we find out months later that report was 100% accurate. But it's a little unfair now until we
It
we
could
have
also
more
be a thing.
information.
If it's a group chat amongst teammates, it could also be a thing that was said in jest, like, like it
Right.
not really meant, but so who knows? Who knows?
But I do think I think a lot of the reaction to this idea of a Kyrie-led contingent of players who are hesitant was dictated by what people think of Kyrie. And it's just a tough situation because there might be a lot of validity to the message, but when the messenger is someone who very conceivably would start their own league, if not suggest some other details like play it underwater or in outer space, like it's a little hard to take it seriously. And so I just had to remind myself when all of this happened to sort of compartmentalize, like what I think of Kyrie and maybe what we're hearing are two separate things. But then you hear stuff like this and I don't know what to think anymore, I guess.
Yeah, the onion has it. Yeah, hold games in the higher plane.
Yeah,
of
see, I was
reality.
not far off. Yeah. So Kyrie, maybe the disruptor, maybe the thoughtful one.
He's out of the club.
I guess we'll find out.
He's
out of the club.
Out the club. He is so out the club.
Dev wants basketball to come back. Eric, I assume you're a strong yes here.
I want basketball to come back so badly. I've got nothing going on, guys. Like, what are we talking about? We just read a list of rules for an hour. Like,
And it was exciting.
We need
'cause it was
basketball.
like- yeah, it was a development.
We just read a list of rules for an hour.
Adam, has
It's
your
true, that
has
is
your
what happened.
excitement waned at all, or are you still ready for this? Are you still
Well, my
gung-ho?
excitement has definitely waned because what I want is basketball to come back. It's my position, all of this. But I will say, what I want even more than that is I want everybody on the same page. Like it will be weird if it comes back and everybody has 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I hope that whatever happens the next couple weeks, there's momentum towards it, and also there's positivity that comes from it. We talked about this a lot yesterday, but there is a way in which the league could come back, and it's terrible and miserable, and we're all like, oh God, that shouldn't have happened. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it comes back and it's a positive thing and it's really cool, and the Nuggets win.
I am going to try to take off my Cynic hat if this gets off the ground and just try to watch it and enjoy it and remember, like,
Take
You
off
should.
Spice and a cat.
Are-
What is?
The second
Are-
it starts, you'll be like, this is totally
Yeah.
worth it. Every part of this is worth it.
We should all take our Cynic hats off every day when we wake up.
Cynic cat.
The Cynic hat is
Wait.
a bad hat to wear. It's a really
When-
bad hat. It's a bad look.
1 through 10, how pumped are you for this season?
10. I'm pumped.
Wow.
I'm jacked. I'm
I find it
pumped.
hard to believe, but
Um,
hey,
There's just a lot of hoops to jump through. There's still a long ways to go before we even get to Disney World. That's the concerning point. We might not actually get there.
Can you ever imagine if you could just, like, 5 months ago have a portal into the future and just hear that sentence, like, there's still a lot of hoops to jump through before we get to Disney World. Like, what are
Before we
talking
get to
about?
the
Sounds
Grand
like this.
Destino.
our ice cream's
Sounds
just
like a
melting
like
in
a
our
cute
hand
movie.
here, man. I'm just so sad.
Where's
I
the
thought I
media
had a treat.
hotel? Why don't we know where the media hotel is? Are we in the Grand
know.
Destino too?
Harrison, once we find out where we're sending you, once we find out where we're
Am
sending
I in the
you,
Yacht
we'll
Club
let
at least?
No, you're way below the Yacht Club.
I'm just going to stay on Knucklehead's cot at the DNVR bar. All right, that's going to do it for the Tuesday night show. Thanks to our special guest, Superstar Dev. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks to all of you for watching, for commenting, for hanging out. We'll do it again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Who knows what details we'll have by then. Fingers crossed they're
This
positive
might be
ones.
read tomorrow.
See you guys then. Take it easy.